Alright guys, we're making pinwheel cookies. Here's a list of ingredients you're gonna need. We're gonna start by taking our 2 sticks of butter, softened, and we're gonna put them in our stand mixer. You can absolutely do this in just a bowl with a hand mixer or whatnot, whatever you want. And we are gonna end up creaming these for about 2 minutes until it's nice and smooth and creamy. Make sure that butter is softened in room temperature and not melted from the microwave, or it won't cream well. Alright, once your butter is nice and smooth and creamy, roughly about 2 minutes, we're going to add to that 1 1/3 cups of sugar. Once your sugar is incorporated and it's light and fluffy, roughly about 3 minutes, you're going to add in your eggs one at a time. Let them mix in. Beat it in between each addition, and then you're going to add your vanilla. So that's 2 large eggs and then 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. There goes egg number 2. You see how it's getting nice and fluffy, and you want that almost frosting-like consistency. All right, now that that egg is mixed in, we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Here I am just double checking my recipe. Had a couple of sous chefs with me. Sometimes they read it incorrectly. Alright, now that the vanilla is mixed in, you want to turn off your mixer, and you're going to add in the flour. It's a total of 3 cups of flour. Depending on where you are and your moisture level, it may be a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. So you want to turn it off, and you want to add in your flour. I like to do it 1 or 2 things at a time. And then mix it slowly. You're also going to add in your baking soda, or baking powder, excuse me, half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt at this point. Then you just want to mix this together until it's all combined and mixed. Alright, so you're going to want to let that mix until all of your flour is incorporated. And as you can see here, I am just taking it off of the thing. My flour is already mixed in, and we are going to set that aside for just a minute and get out some cling wrap. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our dough out, dump it onto the cling wrap, and we're going to separate it into 3 sections, or however many sections you want colors. We did 3 because we were doing these for the 4th of July, so we did red, white, and blue. And you just take a bench scraper. If you don't have a bench scraper, dough cutter, you can use a knife. You just want to kind of form that out until it's nice. And I did a square, just kind of a rectangle, so I can evenly cut it. And then you're going to cut it into 3 sections. 1 section you're going to put back into your mixer. That's going to be your first color. 1 section you're going to set aside. That'll be your next color. And then if you're going to do just white, you kind of want to set that, you're going to flatten that out and put that in the refrigerator. So see, I'm just going to flatten it out a little bit. I don't want it fully flat, but I want it flat enough so that it'll chill pretty fast. So we're just going to flatten it out, wrap it up, and put it in the refrigerator. Alright, so as you see, I kind of flattened it out into a nice little rectangle. I've wrapped it up. It's probably about a ½ inch to a ¼ inch thick. Wrapped it up in tinfoil, and a cling wrap, and I'm going to set it aside on this plate. I'm going to put them all on that plate eventually. So, into my mixer, I'm going to put my paddle back on, and I'm going to add food coloring. Oh no, my camera fell. Oops. Sorry. Let's just readjust that back up. Alright, so I'm going to add red first. You can do, I used liquid food coloring here, just the little cheap stuff you get at the grocery store. I have gel food coloring as well. Might try that next to see if I get a more vibrant color. But this one seemed to work pretty well. So you just want to mix it on low. You don't want it too high. You just want to mix that color in. Mix, mix, mix. And you just keep an eye on it. You can adjust the color as you go. More drops for darker, less drops for lighter. I wanted it nice and red and not a pink color because, again, these were for the 4th of July. Ignore my children in the background. They were helping, but not really helping. Alright, once you get the desired shade you want, you're just going to take that out and you're going to do the same thing you did with your first color. And you're going to put it on some cling wrap and flatten it out. Oh, look, another child. Oh, look, there's 4 out of the 5. They're all waiting for their turn to try and eat the dough. So you're going to do the same with this as you did with the first color. You're just going to flatten it out, put it in some cling wrap, and put it in the fridge. And then you're going to do that for each and every color. I'm not going to show you all the colors. Alright, so you're going to just let that vibe in the fridge for about 30 minutes. You can absolutely do longer if you have other things to do and then come back to it, but at least 30 minutes. Here my camera kind of died so you can see what I've already rolled them out. So you're going to roll out each color. I cut them in half, so I ended up having 2 rolls. And then you're going to layer each color. You do this best on like a piece of parchment or a Silpat, and then layer each one. I kind of having issues with my blue one here. I wanted to tear. I think I rolled it maybe a little too thin. It was sticking. You can see that I already have the red and the white layered. And then you're going to put the blue right on top. Smooth it down. Give it a good little roll. You don't want it too hard. You just want it to stick to each other. My children are talking about something in their eye. Alright, so you just peel off that top layer of parchment paper. You can see, like I said, I was having issues with the blue. It didn't want to stick. You don't have to do this step, but I like doing this. I just kind of trimmed the edges a little bit so they were straight. My kids like when I do this because then they just eat the excess dough. And they were making me mad, so I yelled at them. I wouldn't even know what they were doing at this point. Oh, there's 3. Like I said, you don't have to do this step. This is just something extra I did. And then we noshed the extra dough. But you can kind of see in that one layer I just set to the side, you can see the rolls, the colors already. Oh, here comes another child. This happens every time I'm in the kitchen. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. They all start to show up. Oh, Mom's making cookies. Everybody go! Alright, so you're just going to use the bottom parchment and you're going to lightly roll that. I started with it like this towards me, and it somewhat started to crack. Like I said, I think I rolled my layers a little too thin, but I just ended up using the parchment as a guide. Kind of like when you're rolling sushi and you use the mat to pull the roll tight. You're doing the same thing here. So I'm going to finish rolling this up, and then I'll show you the ends of it and what it looks like in just a second. Now, I did 2 rolls here. Like I said, when my colors came out of the fridge, I cut them in half and did 2 separate rolls, which ended up being my downfall because I messed up the order of the colors, so they weren't red, white, and blue like they were supposed to. I'm just chopping off the ends because the ends are kind of messy. Again, this was my first time making this recipe, and I wanted it to be nice and neat. So you're going to take that roll, and you're going to put it back in cling wrap, very carefully pulling it off the paper. You can kind of see the color swirl in it. And then you're going to wrap it nice and tight in that cling wrap. Ugh, I can't speak today. Twist the ends up like it's a big long candy, and then you're going to put it back in the fridge, and you're going to let it vibe for, I did it for a couple of hours because I ended up having things to do, but you can absolutely let it vibe for like 30 minutes or so, and then come back to it. Alright, so my dough has been vibing in the fridge. You can see it's kind of nice and tight there. We're going to unroll that, and then we're going to slice it and put it on the cookie sheet. At this point, your oven should be preheated to, look at my notes, 350. And you want to take your baking sheet and line it with parchment paper. I have found over the years in baking that parchment paper works way better than spraying your pan. Maybe a little bit more expensive in the long run, but it works way better. Alright, so you just want to take a nice sharp knife. You can use a bench scraper at this point as well, and you just want to cut nice, even 1/4 inch slices. It'll be nice little 1/4 inch round slices. Well, these don't have a whole lot of leavening in them, so they're not going to rise very much, but you still want to space them evenly apart on the cookie sheet and give them a little bit of room to breathe. You can see how pretty the color swirls are right here. Alright, so you're going to want to take these and pop them in the oven. Your oven should be 350 degrees, and you're going to leave them in there between 9 and 12 minutes. I did mine about 10. You can see the children in the background kind of peeking around. They knew the cookies were coming out. So you see how they crisped up just a little bit. We like ours a little underdone and chewy, so this first batch was a little bit more done than we wanted. The next batch I did, we actually left it in a little less time and made them soft and chewy. You can see that delicious little pinwheel going on there. You can do this with more colors than just 3, or you can do it with less colors. Again, this was just my 4th of July baking, and I thought red, white, and blue was pretty. So, there you go. Alright, after you let them cool for a few minutes, you do a taste test. Alright, taste test time. Let's see what they think. What do you think, Maddie?
That's what I think.
Go away. What do you think, Maddie? More? Not right now. Take your chairs. Take your chairs back out there, okay?
No.
Thank you. There you have it. Pinwheel cookies.
How?
Red, white, and blue. You can absolutely do them in all sorts of different colors. For like birthday parties or Christmas or whatever.
Red, white, and blue.